pressure group Occupy Ghana is calling for an independent police investigation into the bribery scandal that has hit Parliament's Appointments Committee. Energy Minister Boakye Ejiakor has been accused by Boko Central MP Mahama Yariga for doling out 3,000 Ghana cedis each to minority MPs serving on the Appointments Committee, so as to influence their decision in his favor as far as approving his nomination was concerned. Now, in a statement, Occupy Ghana said they want an independent police investigation into the damning allegations and a no-hold-barred criminal prosecution of anyone found to be on the wrong side of the Ghanaian law in this scandalous development. But this afternoon, we're asking if the police service has the capacity to undertake this very investigation, which is being called for by the Occupy Ghana group. And I do have in the studio, I have been joined by a familiar face, George Kojoenti. He's a leading member of Citizens Ghana movement, and we're looking at the alleged bribery allegation in Parliament. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Wendy.
And thanks for your time.
It's a pleasure.
Now, first of all, what do you make of what's happening?
Well, I think it's scandalous. It's very, very scandalous. Either way you look at it, if you want to look at it as resulting in a case where a member of parliament told blatant lies, it's scandalous. And it's as equally scandalous as if you look at the other side of the coin, that if it eventually turns out that indeed members of parliament are taking monies on the side to perform their public duties, duties for which they are paid, it is equally scandalous. So whichever way this issue turns out, I think it is going to leave a permanent scar on Parliament. I have heard some people say that, look, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak coming out to say that this is not true, he has never given any money to anybody from anybody, should put this matter to rest. But I think that, as the saying goes, there's no smoke without fire. This is not the first time we're hearing that Parliament is engaged in these corrupt acts. Indeed, the second deputy speaker said at in some time past that the members of Parliament take monies, before they even pass bills into law, and we don't know where that matter ended up. And we've gone around full circle. We've come back, and these allegations are rearing their ugly heads again. And we must not allow it to be swept under the carpet this time. We need to get to the bottom of this. If it's a member of parliament who has gone out blatantly to defame people and tell lies, then some of us think that he is not fit to be there, together with all those who have supported him to tell this lie. If it turns out also that these members of parliament have been collecting these monies under the desk, we want to ask ourselves, for how long has this been going on? And what can we do to root this canker out? These are the people who are making laws for us.
Now, in building up to what you said regarding what can be done to root this canker out, do you think the police should probe this matter, be one of the entities to probe this matter? I
think that it's well within their mandate, because bribery and corruption are two things that have been criminalized, under our laws. And indeed, the president made a pledge that in fighting corruption, he was going to raise the level of that crime from a misdemeanor to a felony, and thereby ensuring that more stringent punishments will be attached to this offense. So I don't see why the police cannot, do you think they have the capacity? Capacity, yes. Capacity,
You're confident of that?
Yes. I mean, I do trust the Ghana Police Service. But we also need to look at this other side. Is that the only option? I would recommend that Parliament should have an independent committee. It might be a bipartisan committee that will look into this. And they should hold public hearings.
Okay.
Their hearings should be broadcast live for everybody to see and hear what is happening, just as we had in the Supreme Court case, the election petition. Let us all hear what is happening. Let us see what is happening. It's a way by which Parliament can restore the confidence that seems to be waning, and then bring it back. Right. But short of that, we heard the Shraj boss yesterday say that if Parliament doesn't do anything, Shraj might also want to look into that.
Let me just hold you there before we even delve into what has come up with Shraj. But we're heading still on this very same issue. We're heading straight to the Ashanti region. But I'm told we don't have that feed yet. It's a live feed from Kumasi, where my colleague Kofi Domfe will be speaking with Reverend Dr. Kwadwo Osei-Wusu. He's a board member of the Ghana Integrity Initiative on this very issue, on alleged bribery allegation in Parliament. So, George, you were talking about Shraj.
Yes, and the point that the Shraj boss made yesterday, I listened to him, was that they do have the power. Indeed, the act that brought them into force gives them that power to suo motu on their own motion, look into this matter. So we don't even need someone to go and report. You know,
but
Shraj can.
Do you think that our institutions are really slow when it comes to taking action on some of these issues?
I think so. I think so. I think as a people, we have condoned certain acts that seem to have political coloring. So the moment some act seems to have some political coloring to it, we are slow. It happens with the police. It happens with several other public bodies. This time it's Parliament, and luckily it affects both sides. Okay. So, like I have said, this is an opportunity for Parliament to purge itself and also win back the confidence of many Ghanaians. Let
me just pause you there and go back to the Ashanti region. We now have a feed, and Kofi Domfe, my colleague, will be speaking with a board member of Ghana Integrity Initiative. Over to you, Kofi.
By an anti-corruption crusader, Reverend Dr. Kwadwo Osei-Wusu, who is a board member of the Ghana Integrity Initiative, to throw more light on this issue. Good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for joining us. First of all, do you get the sense that as a country, we're getting serious with this whole issue of bribery allegation that has rocked Parliament?
Well, this is a very serious and very sad occurrence that are happening to our country, especially coming closely after great elections, and then the pronouncement of the president's anti-corruption stand. It's become a sore thing, especially when it has to deal with Parliament. And I believe that the way we need to go about it, as you were saying, is now the issue. I think there have been suggestions. I heard Occupy Ghana suggesting that it should be given to the police. I don't know how the police can handle that. But my personal belief is that in Ghana, very few people have integrity. I will have no problem saying that. And with the police, I wouldn't advocate for that. Because especially when there's a change in government, there's people are on tenterhooks. Some are afraid to be transferred, some are afraid to be sacked, and it affects the police also. And this issue has political undertones. So it's becoming a hell of a problem. Parliament itself is immune, and the presidency cannot venture into that place to command anything to be done. I would suggest that if Parliament is serious about cleaning themselves up and defending their integrity, since this thing has been happening, as we have related so many times since this thing came up, I would think that Parliament will have to submit themselves for scrutiny. Nobody can command them, nobody can do that, but for their own good, I would suggest that Parliament will submit itself and constitute a committee or investigative committee made up of prominent people in the Ghanaian society.
But how can we be certain that we still have these, as you raise the issue, people lack integrity? Can we get individuals that really possess this integrity you're talking about to constitute a committee to probe this issue?
As for that, I am very sure we have. We have people like VCRAC, Crab, Green Street. There are prominent people whom we can vouch that when they sit and interview people, they will not be scared in any way, because they are people who are independent-minded. They are people who have made it up themselves, you see. But if you take it to the police, there's a lot of problems.
That doesn't mean that we can no longer trust our state institutions like STRAJ, the police, the BI, among others, to really go deep into these levels of investigation to bring a solution to the challenges.
It's not a problem that we can no longer trust them, but whether we can really put trust, because we know that all these institutions need to be overhauled. They need to be reviewed and re-engineered in a way that we will be sure that when you put something before them, because look at Parliament itself. If Parliament is where this thing is happening, where again do we look for people of integrity? So I think that the institutions are there, but there's the fact that most of our institutions cannot be relied upon, you see, because of the political influences that are going on for years.
Did you have the confidence that this issue of bribery allegation that has been leveled against some members of the Parliament Appointment Committee would indeed be brought to an end?
As for bringing it to an end, it has to come, because it cannot be forever. But how to bring it to an end? It will only happen if Parliament itself submit itself to scrutiny. If they think that they can sit down in camera and do that, then it will not come to an end. They need to submit themselves to an outside body that all Ghanaians can trust. And then at the end of it, whatever they bring out, I think people will believe that it is the truth.
Thank you very much. We've been speaking to Reverend Dr. Kojo Osei-Owusu, who is an anti-corruption crusader and a board member of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. My name is Kofi Edudum, for reaching you from Kumasi. Over to you, Wendy, in the studio.
Very much indeed, Kofi Dumfe. Now, back to the studio here with George Kojo. George, we did hear Reverend Dr. Kojo Osei-Owusu. He made some assertions quite similar to what you said about sitting in camera, not doing their own thing, but having some other persons scrutinize their work. Is this the way to go, really?
Like I said, the options are many. But if you ask me for my preference, the one that would purge Parliament the most will be for Parliament itself to conduct this inquiry. And it should be done in the full glare of the public. Everybody should see what is going on. Remember that, I mean, not too long back, a similar scandal rocked the judiciary. And we saw the steps that were taken. They were swift, they were decisive, they were punitive. And, you know, some months down the line, gradually we're restoring confidence back into the judiciary. Parliament needs to do a similar thing. We need to see that they are not going to condone this, whether it's on the side of the majority or the minority. We elected them to make laws.
Now, one of the options you gave was for the police to handle this, but Reverend believes that there are some political undertones when it comes to public institutions and all that. That point's made very clear because you all have different views to it. Yeah. But going forward, as an anti-corruption institution, what would you intend doing for this matter to be put to an end? What contribution would you make?
Well, Wendy, aside from keeping the conversation going, which is something that we are bent on doing, because this matter must not die, and we'll make sure that this matter does not die. It's not going to die a natural death. Quite apart from that, there are many options that are open. People have petitioned the Speaker. Some members have petitioned the Speaker. The difficulty here is that Parliament is said to be the master of its own rules. But where criminality comes in, you cannot oust the jurisdiction of the police to investigate. So whoever we must petition, we will petition. Okay. And if we talk to our lawyers and it's possible to even take some of these matters to court in the public interest, we will.
All right, then. Thank you very mumuch, George Kojo NT. He is a leading member, Citizen Ghana Movement, and we're looking at the alleged bribery allegation in Parliament. You're still watching Media Live.